Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hello there, Lockdown Legion, and welcome to yet another excellent episode of
Nerds on Lockdown. My name is Chris. This is AA Ron over here. How's it going, Aaron?
It's going really good, dude. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. We're going over an amazing topic today.
Fantabulastic.
Yes, I can't wait to get into it. We're going over our 5 favorite movie soundtracks.
There we go. Staying
of
on the rails
all
of
time.
this crazy train, baby. Here we
That's
go.
right.
Dude, what would a movie be without awesome music, right?
Nothing.
It would just be a bunch of scenes. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
It'd be quiet.
Why don't you start us off today and hit us with your number 5?
All right, man. All right. Well, this first one here for me is a Tarantino flick. And this particular one, to me, the music is completely synonymous with the imagery, in that most of these songs I'd never heard prior to the film, and when the film came out, I really enjoyed it. So the blending here is to be found on the soundtrack for Kill Bill Volume 1.
Volume 1. I was going to ask Volume 1 or Volume 2. Yeah.
Quite specifically, Volume 1.
Okay.
From the first major song, the Bang Bang, My Baby Shot Me Down, Nancy Sinatra, but with that like sick remix that they did with it.
Yeah, for sure.
The imagery with Battle Without Honor or Humanity, with the motorcycle chases and just this heavy banging soundtrack that Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood.
Yeah, man.
Again, with a classic 60s song with a modern kind of atmospheric take. Just I can't recommend the album enough. Beginning to end, it certainly qualifies for me as being one of the best examples of music and film marrying for all time.
Awesome, man. That sounds good. That's a good pick. I love that movie, actually.
So good.
Both of them. But yeah, Michael Madsen, man, on point.
Right.
One of my favorites. Cool, man. Well, my number 5 is a newer movie. I think it was a couple years ago, maybe 2 or 3. But it's a movie by the name of Baby Driver.
Baby Driver. Not to be confused with Minnie Driver.
Yeah. Baby Driver, man. This movie was all about this. Have you seen the flick at all?
Unfortunately, no. But
Okay.
I
It's on your radar.
explain it to me. Explain, Lucy.
So it's about this kid that sort of grows up. Well, he gets in an accident when he's really young, and he has these he has problems in his ears where they ring all the time.
Okay.
And he constantly has to be playing music to drown out the ringing. And he gets involved with this crime boss that basically robs banks and stuff and puts teams together, and that's Kevin Spacey. He's the main bad guy in it. Okay. And basically he's the driver for all the robberies and stuff. And the movie
driver.
Yeah, and the movie kind of goes around with him playing music all the time and him putting headphones in, but you live through his world through the music that's going on. And the music is always like on tempo with either the walking or people doing something down the street. Like it'll be like it'll be like a song,
like
and then
syncopation.
Syncopation in the movie is perfect and on. It's such a great soundtrack too. I mean, Dave Brubeck and Kashmir and Carla Thomas, the Beach Boys.
Right.
Dude, it's got incredible bongo band. Like, there's a lot of really, really cool music and stuff that you wouldn't expect for somebody to pick for a soundtrack like that. It's kind of cool. It's weird and odd, and it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I love to hear when a song feels like it wouldn't belong, but somehow when it's all said and done, feels like it couldn't be any other song.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm actually real psyched to watch that now. It sounds like my kind of flick.
It's really good. You should check it out. Anyways, that's my number 5.
Good call, man. My number 4 on this one is going to be yet another one of my favorite movies. The first time I heard many of these songs was in the film, even though these are very, very old songs. So to keep in mind as well, the nostalgia and whatnot, and the tieability to the original picture. This would be the soundtrack to Goodfellas.
Ooh.
Right? And I love it. I love it because you've got your Tony Bennett's in there. You got your Bobby Darin. You got this classic, just the whole way through. When I hear any of those songs on streaming or whatever, the radio, it might still play them. I'm instantly back in the movie, and I love that flick.
Yeah.
Scorsese's choice to use like the piano interlude of Layla in the outro scene, showing what happened to everybody, or just, I mean, obviously there's a ton of classic tracks there. Life is but a dream.
Oh yeah. That's one of those creepy songs, man. Like there are some soundtracks that they're like creepy movies that have
Right.
those old 50s, like, Life or Sandman, Mr.
Yeah.
Sandman, or you know what I mean, End of the World, stuff like that. That's, yeah, I love
Yeah.
that stuff, dude.
Cool. Yeah, when they incorporate an OG kind of sound into a apocalyptic sort of
Yeah,
setting.
it's great.
It's
Yeah.
trippy, but yeah, Goodfellas is just awesome. Again, another great movie where the music and the imagery are blended as
Into
one.
one, yeah, for sure, man. Cool. All right, well, my number 4 is definitely a classic. That would be the first Rocky movie.
Yo,
Adrian. Yeah, man. I mean, it's, come on, you know what I mean? It's freaking. It's all really cool 80s rock music, man. That, you know what I mean?
do you mean when you say Rocky, like Rocky 1, the original Rocky movie, or just in general the Rocky soundtrack, like it from the saga or
No, just the first one when it had obviously the main title, da 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 da, right? But then that leading into I forgot the name of the band. Survivor, you know what I mean?
Yo,
Eye of the Tiger.
Yeah, but you're a few years early, dude. The Eye of the Tigers didn't appear until the third one. And then, like, we didn't get all the good rock shit until the third and fourth one. It was primarily orchestral and whatnot. I don't think Eye of the Tiger is on that first one.
Is it? No? I don't know.
No.
But
he didn't need that shit when he was fighting Apollo. It was when Mr. T showed up, Club a Lang. And he's like, I'm
for me,
rock music.
So for me, I guess I'll have to put that as like the saga then.
Yeah,
the Rocky saga.
Yeah. If I were Mills Lane, I might say I'll allow it.
Yeah. So the Rocky saga, I guess, is I would put down as that because it had all that kind of Survivor, 80s
Indeed
rock stuff to it.
Right,
so, yeah,
dude.
for sure.
Hey, there's no easy way out, Chris.
Yeah.
There are no shortcuts home.
Nope. I mean, there was some good stuff. Some really good stuff, man.
Right. Montages and whatnot.
Yeah.
But anyway. Yeah, dude, I would have totally thought of that if I had bent the rules of science to come up with that one. But anyways, dude, I'm going back to what might be predictable grounds here, but I'm back in Tarantino land with my number 3. This one, again, for the very same reasons, where the music and the movie to me are synonymous in so many scenes. This is going to be Pulp Fiction soundtrack. First song I remember on it very specifically, Girl, You'll Be a Woman Soon, Urge Overkill, cover of the Neil Diamond track.
Yeah.
God, I love that song. And then, of course, the use in the movie was great, too. So Jungle Boogie, Let's Stay Together, all the dialogue cuts in between the songs. That's another thing I like in a good soundtrack, where they actually blend parts of the movie into it.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I mean, it's kind of a hard thing to argue against just because it's so eclectic.
It's
surf music, and you got the oldies, and you got some funk and things like that.
It's a great soundtrack for sure. Like, I love Tarantino, so I can't like argue against any Tarantino film for me,
Sure.
So
yeah, exactly. It's kind of like, if you don't know about it, you should.
Well, and a lot of his movies also include, Robert Rodriguez's band as well. So, I mean, they do a lot of that cool Spanish rock music too, and it's
sure.
Just great stuff. Cool, man. All right, well, on to my number 3. And my number 3 is a little tiny 80s movie known as Top Gun.
That's
right. Yeah, that one. That one. Man, but so many good songs. Danger Zone. That's what you were just, singing. Mighty Wings by Cheap Trick, dude. Like freaking Kenny Loggins.
Kenny Loggins only gets one good award for this album, not two.
No, Not Playing with the Boys.
I'm not at all down with that song.
The beach
I
scene. If anybody's seen the movie, what we're talking about is the beach scene. That's all we'll leave it at.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite song off that album is Berlin, Take My Breath Away. That whole scene, I've always
Yeah.
sort of been like enamored because that movie came out when I was a kid, obviously, and that was like
Right.
my first
You're like,
ooh, steamy,
sexy.
yeah, like But Loverboy was in that, dude. Like Heaven in Your Eyes, dude. And it was
Yeah,
a
man.
great soundtrack. But anyways, yeah, that's my number 3.
Dude, I gotta give a shout out to the soundtrack and to the fact that you chose it. My grandmother had that on cassette, and I'd go visit her, and she had other cassettes, obviously, but like that was the one I always went to, and I'd put it on and I'd rock that shit, and we'd sit on the we'd sit on the ground, and we'd push Hot Wheels back and forth across the kitchen, listening to the Top Gun soundtrack, and I'd set up little tracks and whatnot, and they go flying everywhere and slamming into stuff, and she was so sweet about it. She wasn't like, "Hey, quit being a little brat." She was just like, "Hey, I'm happy to be playing with the kid." So
That's
quick
awesome,
shout out,
dude.
quick shout outs to the grandma.
The Grams, yeah, dude, for sure. Cool, man. So, what's your number
All right, well,
dose? Is it yeah, number dose?
Yeah. Number trois. Or is that 3?
Nah.
Shit, I don't know. I don't take French.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2 is going to be one of my favorite gothy movies. And this one came out in the, I want to say, 2000s, somewhere in that realm. Great use of this, like, 80s dark guitar, acoustic ballad, pop kind of thing that was going on. One of my favorite movies ever, and the soundtrack to boot, Donnie Darko.
Ooh.
I had heard a lot of these songs prior, but when I saw them in the film, as I was watching the film for the first time and really enjoying it, those just made it that much sweeter. And then, of course, if you've seen it, you'll have your opinion, but the film is quite entertaining and pretty dark and trippy, and this music, NXS and Echo and the Bunnymen, of course, Gary Jules' Mad World, the tribute or cover to the Tears Shafir's Mad World.
Yep.
And that's another amazing transitional cover too, like where they take it and they just take it in another place altogether, and the tone of that song again and many in this soundtrack take me right back to it. Plus, this is a good example of a soundtrack that combines both the music of the film and the score into the same CD. So for those who like both, they got a little bit of both on that soundtrack, and it's just a really good flick and a really somber but kind of rocking for its time soundtrack.
Dude, that movie's great. Honestly, like I had that in my top 5, and I did take it out because I knew you were gonna pick it. Because I knew it's one of your favorite movies, so I was like, Aaron's gonna take that one.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it.
That movie's great, man. Have you seen the second one?
S. Darko?
Yeah, about the sister, whatever.
Yeah, I got nearly halfway through, and I wasn't gripped, and I didn't finish it.
I watched all of it. I actually ended up really. If you get toward the end, it's all kind of starts coming together. It's kind of cool. Like, you just got to get there.
And I guess that might have been the problem too, is I was so far removed from what I thought that it could be that maybe in the moment I didn't give it the chance to be to play out and become something.
I mean, by in no means is it as good as the original at all, but there's something at the end that will, you know what I mean? It pays off basically. It's kind of cool. I won't give it away, but yeah.
Okay, no, I'll go back and finish it.
Yeah,
bro.
for sure. Cool, man.
All right, man. Hit. What you got?
I got, for my number 2, the Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack. The first one.
Nice. The first film?
The first one. The first film.
Nice.
The second film was great. It had great music, but not as good as the first one. The first one was off the charts, ridiculously good. And the reason why I picked this movie is because, well, for one, it's hilarious. It's one of my favorite Marvel movies. And for another, I think it was the first time that in a movie where I was sitting in the movie theater and I was just like, dude, the soundtrack is ridiculously good. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, whoa, you know what I mean? But I mean, everything from freaking Hooked on a Feeling, Blue Suede, to, David Bowie and Jackson 5 and The Runaways, and like, dude, I mean, it's all over the place with just amazing movie. Marvin Gaye, like. Yeah.
Fool Around and Fell in Love is in that one. I love that
Dude,
one.
it's man. Yeah, the Elvin Bishop song.
Indeed,
Yeah. So yeah, it was. That's my number 2. It's
dude. That's
on
a
point.
feel good CD. That's a great soundtrack, but also on its own a very feel good CD.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure, bro. My number one now is going to go back to a topic I've brought up at least once before, um, in that I can't separate the two. I love the music to this film, beginning to end. The soundtrack has that complete playability for me.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking about the soundtrack to the film The Crow.
Mm.
And first and foremost, you got a song by The Cure that's on there that I don't believe hit any of their albums. I think it was a specific for the soundtrack, like exclusive. Don't quote me. I'd be curious what album it is on, though, if you could let me know. You got Big Empty by Stone Temple Pilots, one of my favorite songs
Mm-hmm.
of all time. You've got Nine Inch Nails doing Dead Souls, which was a
Mm-hmm.
Joy. What was the Joy band?
Joy Division.
Thank you, Joy Division. I was thinking Joy Formidable, but you're right. Yeah. There's a Rage Against the Machine track, Darkness, on this record that again only appears on like a B-side with an alternate version, and the version on the soundtrack is kind of like the final mastered quality version.
I got you. Yeah.
Just loved it, dude. I mean, the imagery, the videos, everything. It's a good, heavy, dark soundtrack, very dark, and a great listen all the way through. And
Cool, man. Yeah, the Cure song you were talking about was called Burn.
yeah, Bird.
Burn? Yeah.
Mhm.
That I believe that was only on the soundtrack, yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So,
And that's kind of rare that a really incredible song by a band that's been around as long as they have and could have dropped it anywhere
yeah.
is only found on a soundtrack. You know, kind of a neat thing.
Well, yeah, even like the vinyl single that they had pressed at the time
Yeah.
was The Cure, and then it had Brandon Lee with the Crow outline on it, and you know what I mean. So they pressed just that single. Yeah.
Oh, I gotta
So,
find me one of those.
if you can find it, it's probably some money on eBay, but you know, yeah, because you got to realize how long ago that movie was, unless they had reprinted it by now. You know what I mean? Did some record store day deal or something like that. But
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Well, right on, dude. That flattens me out on my top 5, but I know you got your number 1 here.
I do have my number 1, and my number 1 is another '80s movie by the name of The Karate Kid Part 2.
Hey, Miyagi.
This time I'm singling it down to the Part 2. All right, Part 2.
Very specifically, yes.
Very specifically. And this is just the reason why I picked the second movie is because it has Peter Cetera on it. And, you know, The Glory of Love, man, is, like, probably one of my favorite 80s songs of all time. And it's just...
It's a good one.
I think it's... The thing with it is, when I hear that song, that's what I specifically think of, is The Karate Kid 2. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that's the movie that I think of, or what I think of when I hear that song. So, I mean, there's a lot of other good. There's the Moody Blues are on there, and Paul Rogers. And, you know, I mean, Bill Conti, huh?
A little Bad Company. He said Paul Rogers.
Yeah, Carly Simon. Like, there is a lot on there, but I think that the centerpiece is Gloria Love. Like, that's
For sure.
You know, yeah.
I have to wonder, when you wedded your lovely bride there, did you put into your vows that you'll be a man who will fight for her
honor? Nah, yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Should have.
I don't know. I have my vows written down. I actually have them. I have them somewhere, but
Nice.
we'll see. Anyways, cool, man. Well, this was another exciting episode of Nerds on Lockdown. Thank you, Aaron. That was an awesome topic. I had a lot of fun with that.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Are we not going to drop the honor?
Oh, honorable mentions, man. I always forget this. You need to remind me of this stuff. All right, cool. What's your honorable mention, Aaron? Where are we going? Where we got?
All right. Well, for everything else we've had has been very serious a film. This film not so serious, but the soundtrack is once again incredible, and I'm talking about the one and the only Team America.
World Police.
Okay, I got to tell you, especially in the times we're in right now, America, yeah. Come on. Right?
Yeah.
And dude, what day of the week do you wake up not feeling so ronery? Because I feel so Ronry all the time.
Kids, if you're watching this, don't go and watch this movie until you're 16, 17 years old. But yeah, go on.
Hey, I just wanted an opportunity to say I'm so Ronry on the internet. Go ahead.
Dude, no. Great movie. I love that movie. The soundtrack is hilarious. For those of you who don't know or have never heard of that movie or whatever, that was the dudes that did South Park. They're the ones that made this movie. So you can imagine, you know what I mean, the things that are in it. But
right.
if you enjoy adult humor, watch this movie. Yeah. Anyways, let's move on from that, shall we?
Ah, your turn.
To my honorable mention, which is no better than what yours was. My honorable mention is a little tiny David Lynch movie called Lost Highway.
Lost Highway.
A movie that you will have to watch 20 times before you understand. I still don't quite get it. A movie that has nothing but fused jazz, rock jazz,
German metal.
Nine Inch Nails did most of the soundtrack for it. Wrote most of the soundtrack. It's an amazing soundtrack for a soundscape soundtrack rock type of deal.
Very
ambient rock, really cool. And the movie's just a trip, like really trippy.
Very weird.
And the reason why I put that I didn't put it on the top in my top 5 is because I felt like when we were talking about soundtracks, we're talking about actual songs that we either would have been on the radio or things like that.
No, it's whatever.
So I wanted to put this in my honorable mention because of the influence that it gave me for doing like ambient rock and stuff like that, for my, my band Further From the Truth. So that is kind of where like the love of that started. So
very good.
I had to put that
I love that Pumpkins track on there.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
That's one of my favorite Pumpkins tracks for sure.
Cool, man.
Right on, dude. Well, we've survived yet another one.
We did. If anybody wants to hit us up on our social medias, it's right here in the bottom at Nerds on Lockdown, at the Instagrams, and on Twitter at Lockdown Nerds, and on Facebook at Push Up Yo Glasses. Well, Aaron, thank you once again for being here.
Mr. Chris, always a pleasure.
Until we see you next time, or maybe not. We will. See you guys later. Bye-bye.